What's up guys, it's Average Joel making average content for the average viewer, and today I want to discuss with you guys one of the most hotly contested mechanics in Battlefield 2042, and that is weapon spread or weapon bloom. And I aim today to give you guys another Battlefield 2042 tips and tricks video to help you combat this so that you can go from shooting like a monkey without thumbs to taking the cock off of a fly at 200 yards and leaving his balls unnestled. Before we get into the video, I just want to say that we are absolutely hurtling towards our sub goal of 20,000 subscribers by Christmas. And if you're new to the channel and aren't aware, I have a slap bet with my brother-in-law that states if I get to my goal, I get to slap him hard in the face. However, if I don't, well, look, I don't want to even think about it, so have a heart and please save my face. But that's enough of that, let's get on with my findings. So to start off for this test, what I did was start from about 30 meters away and fire 5 bullets from each of the main categories of weapon within Battlefield 2042, except from I did not use the sniper rifle because I'm nearly certain from what everyone else is saying that they are 100% accurate every single time provided you are still. Now what I did was fire it in single shot and let the gun recenter itself after every single shot, and here are my findings as follows. The DMR was pretty much spot on every single time, and any sort of deviation I'm pretty much putting down to user error because it was the first test I did, and to be honest I'm not accurate at the best of times, so fuck knows why I decided to do a test. But anyway, second of all, the LMG obviously has quite a lot of spread. Even without adjusting my aim at all, it was clear that bullets were going pretty much wherever they wanted. It was almost like I'm firing in hip fire. So if you want to be really accurate, I would stick away from the LMGs, at least for now. The AR is where it started to get strange. The majority of the 5 bullets did hit in the same place, however there was 1 or 2 outliers that I cannot explain, and I do not think this was down to user error because I was pretty confident that I always shot exactly in the same spot. This leads me to believe that occasionally the odd bullet will fly off. Now look, I'm going to get into that in a lot more detail in a sec, but I just want to tell you about the SMG. The SMG was strange as well because when I first tested it, it didn't actually show the bullet marks. It's almost like the small caliber of the SMG didn't leave enough of a mark on the wall, so I had to get closer, thus making my tests a little bit unfair, but I thought I'd show you the results nevertheless. And to my surprise, or lack thereof, considering everyone is using SMGs at the moment, there was little to no spread on the SMG. I know that I was a lot closer in this test, however, it looked a lot more like the DMR than any of the other weapon types, so I'm led to believe that the bullet spread on the SMGs is at least a lot less than the LMGs and the assault rifles. So I moved on and decided that I wanted to test the recoil of the ARs and the SMG side by side to see what I would find. Now, with the PBX, I tried it in 3 different setups. I tried it completely stock, and there was a lot of vertical recoil, however the spread seemed pretty narrow, and it was always straight up in a dead line. Second, I tried it with the longest barrel, and this dramatically decreased the amount of recoil I was getting, however the spread looked exactly the same. And third, I tried it with the setup that I personally would use, which had the suppressor and the rattlesnake-like grip. And actually what I found was that there was less vertical recoil than if I had no attachments on the gun. However, obviously I had more than if I had the heaviest barrel, but also after all of this, the spread, that being how far the furthest one to the left to the furthest mark on the right was, stayed pretty much the exact same. So I decided that what I wanted to do was try the recoil spread of the stock M5A3. Now please be aware that I wasn't actually able to do a lot more testing on the M5 because I haven't unlocked enough attachments, so I decided that I would just try it stock. I started in the exact same place when I started shooting, and the results were actually quite surprising. The M5 actually has a considerable amount of recoil, but not only does it go up, it also shoots off to the right as well. This is fairly typical for first-person shooter games, and a lot of first-person shooters do have recoil patterns that go either to the left or to the right. They don't always go straight up. However, the thing that I want to highlight here is just how far away these bullets were. There are bullets that are literally miles away from each other from left to right. The spread on this gun is absolutely insane. Bear in mind that I'm only about 15 to 20 meters away from this wall, and what I found is that actually I don't think I could be confident if I was aiming at the head of an enemy player, even if I was perfectly controlling the recoil. So what I did is I took the clip and I took about 3 or 4 shots mouse and slowed it down and zoomed it in. And what I want you to notice in this clip is how one of the bullets, one of the tracers, literally goes about 3 centimeters away from where I am aiming. And in my eyes, this proves that this is not anything to do with horizontal recoil, but instead is all to do with this so-called bloom or spread. At the moment, this means that I literally cannot recommend that you use the ARs. Assault rifles in games are meant to be those sort of be-all end-all, we do anything, bird's eye potato waffles, awfully versatile guns within the game. You're meant to be able to pick up an AR and feel at least semi-confident if you are shooting at short range, medium range or long range. However, because of this spread and the recoil, to be honest, but mainly the spread, because as far as I can tell there's not a lot you can actually do to combat this spread, I don't think I would feel confident taking shots unless I'm shooting sort of one bullet at a time. But in that case, you might as well be using a DMR. Now, what I want to say at the end of this video, because ultimately I'm not sure what you can do to combat this other than not using the ARs and only using SMGs or DMRs, which seems like what everyone is doing at the moment. I really think that what needs to happen is some sort of rebalance and rework, and luckily we have had some sort of roadmap from DICE. They have said in a post that they will be looking at weapon tuning and specifically said that they are going to be buffing the ARs, and the only thing that I think that they should be doing is reducing this spread. I just want to go off on a bit of a tangent here and say that I really don't think that this sort of bloom and spread should be present in this style of first-person shooter. The most obvious example of where spread has been used that I can think of is Fortnite, a third-person shooter that relies on your building skill more than your gun skill. A game like Battlefield, which is almost built from the ground up to revolve around gun skill, really does not benefit from this type of randomness and this sort of RNG mechanic. And I really do hope that Battlefield and DICE sort this out sooner rather than later, because at the moment, in a game that we already have a lack of variety in the weapons that we can choose, I really think it's a bit out of order that we are pretty much forced to leave all of the assault rifles alone. Now, I know that this test wasn't 100% accurate, and I know that I could have spent a lot more time and gathered a lot more data. However, I think that what I did find in this limited test that I did do should tell you enough, and it should tell you that you should stick away from the assault rifles until they see a considerable buff. Anyway, I really hope that this has helped some of you guys, and I made this video essentially because I want you to feel like you're not going insane and you're not terrible at the game. The game is literally making you miss your shots, and it is not your fault, and I really want you to have that peace of mind so you don't get frustrated and quit the game early, because I'm sure these things will be ironed out and will be fixed in due course. But anyway, that's about it for today, and for those of you guys who have watched my content for a while, you'll know that I love to see who sticks around until the end. So if you're still here, I'd like you to let me know by answering this question down in the comments. Would you rather have no elbows or no knees? Anyway, that's it from me today. I'm Average Joel. Peace.